Hello, I'm Ellis in Wonderland, and my slide is a bit stretched, so it looks a bit big. It's supposed to be round. But, well, I'm Ellis in Wonderland. I'm a designer. I have designed for 10 years over 50 games for educational purpose and behavior change. And since 5 years I do research, I educate, and or I teach, and I am consultant on how to design games and how to use play as a tool. And I tried many different devices and tools to find out about how do you design motivation. And I've always been very much a quantifier myself, and I use myself as a guinea pig to find out how can we motivate people and how can I transfer that for other people. So I used all these apps, and I've been using all these devices, and like I measured my sleeping very heavily with all these 300 things on my head, a couple of times even. And I'm a bit of a freak, and I'm actually very grateful for Gary for introducing Quantified Self so much in Holland, because I could come out of the closet, because I felt very much like a bit of a nerd, and people very often ask me like, what are you doing? But it's very much curiosity. So then 2 years ago, I received this as a gift from my sister for my birthday, and I was really like, wow, this is a cool Quantified Self tool, because it's just a diary. It's a face a day. Draw and doodle your face every day and your mood. And so this is the inside. You can, on the left, you have just similar, very simple things to register and to write down. And on the right, there's this nice colored circle to draw your face of that day. So for many days, every night before I fell asleep, I was thinking, how was my day today? And you really have to think like, okay, because I got one face only to measure my day. And so I was doing that every day, and I was really enjoying that more and more. And I did that for 6 months. And it's also very funny because you are thinking of your face, you're thinking of the day, and you can choose what are the most important moments to focus on. So it's very much an average, but it made me very happy. And I also need to write down what was the weather. And I noticed that if I had to choose between only these four elements, like what was the weather like. And very often I chose the sun, because it felt like, yeah, there was only a little bit of rain. There was not so much rain. So I was motivating myself in a positive way, because I only had these four options. And in Holland it actually never much freezes. So, okay, the clouds, yeah, but you can fill it in. So I also was measuring what I was eating. This is breakfast, lunch and dinner. And down there's the option of what is a positive thing today and what is a negative thing today. And during the whole book I noticed that I stopped doing the negative one, because I didn't like falling asleep focusing on that, and I just didn't want to do that. So I only was writing the positive, and it helped me a lot. Then on the left you see these glasses of wine. Because I thought, so I'm changing my behavior, how can I change some other behaviors? How can I make sure that I drink a little bit less? I don't have the quantified numbers for you, because I don't want to show all those. But I did start drinking less, because I really, writing them down is just enough effort to really make you reflect on it and think like, okay, I should lower that. And I managed to drink less, also in the long term, I really did. However, I still enjoy drinking. And I also wanted to try out whether I was able to cook my dinner more, because I'm a bit lazy, and I was like, okay, let's put some effort in. I use my book to motivate me to cook dinner more. So I was drawing these pots and pans, and so every day I added in more and more things to write about. Then the other thing was I wanted to eat less candy or chocolate. So this was when I did eat that day something, candy or sweets. So I was making just these little symbols there, like, okay, yeah, I remember I did something, okay. Then sports. This was when I did an exercise that day. I do sports climbing, so I wrote down this little star, like, yes, you did. Then I got a bit tired from all these little drawings, making them and thinking about it. So I got a bit frustrated with that, and I thought of a different system, which is my 1, 2, 3 system. And it's just every day I just look at the day like, Is this a good day? Did I do sports, not drink, not eat candy? Is this a good day? Then I give myself 3 points. If I know like, oh, it's not a top day, I give myself 2 points. And if I know I drank a lot, I didn't sport, I ate a lot of candy, I give myself still 1 point. The good thing is I'm always giving myself a point. It's very positive. And then I start measuring how am I doing. So I try to visualize my scoring, but this is very hard. You cannot see how well you're doing, if you're improving or not. So these are very static numbers. So then I try to visualize the 6 months. This was actually after the 6 months I got so curious with all my with my complete book how to do that. So this is the 1, 2, 3 points during the month. Still not very visible, but so then I made the green ones, the orange ones, and the red ones. So the red ones are the not so good days, and I'm trying to collect as many green ones as possible. I also was looking at when you're doing it, you want to have an average. So I was trying to make the average of the week. So a yellow week is an okay week, green week is a top week, and a red week is a not so good week. But if I know I had a red week, then I'm motivated to go to the green more. So I was trying to make myself aware, like where am I at, but I'm still averaging all the time. So the great thing is that I found out that I don't need to be in green all the time. It's very good to stay in orange or yellowish and to stay away from red. And I know that without this book I would have been a lot more in the red, because then I don't care and I drink and I eat and blah blah. So, but now I was focused like, no, I want to keep myself up there. So the good thing also was I lost weight. And I didn't feel like I was on a diet, because I was just controlling my eating candy and not drinking too much. I felt very much like I am happy, I'm not suffering, I am drinking when I want to drink, I'm not drinking every day. Sorry, I don't have a problem there. It's just it's the obvious one to say. But all these behaviors, I was more in control, and I was losing weight, which was good for me and was also good for my sport in climbing. So then, when I was doing all that and was looking at all these faces, I thought like, yeah, I can quantify or qualify this even a little bit more. Because what happened, I noticed in all these months that when I was started to draw, I had to draw the face, I liked drawing a smiling face more. Because I felt that when I draw a smiling face, I start to smile. I can't help it. I also, when I draw, you look like this. And so I got happy from drawing. So I noticed that I have many happy, smiley faces. So I measured all of the smiles in size to see how I was doing over 6 months' time. So this is the measurement of the smiles. They are mainly above the line of the 0, so that's a good thing. But this is of course just fun to look at, but it's not very clear. Then I summarized it a bit more. So in January I had a plus 15. I started doing it and I really enjoyed it. And during the time I noticed that I was increasing on the smile. So I was sort of making myself happy. I also got feedback from my friends around me. They were asking me like, what happened? You're so happy. So I really have measurements from outside, people telling me like there's something happening with you. And it's true that my smile is plus 14 average in 6 months' time. So I got happy, and you might have noticed the little suns sometimes instead of the smiles in my statistics. They were like this because I took a break. This was not a really holiday. I took a break from doing this because there is a moment that you when you're trying to track your data and you're trying to change your behavior and you feel like, oh, I'm a slave of this thing. So I stopped doing that for 2 weeks, and then I was extra motivated to start doing it again. And I think it's very important to include a break when you're designing behavior change or motivation. And then I thought of, actually before this, with the smiley one, so I was becoming more and more happy. I thought my mom could use this actually, because she's aging, she's 76, and she's dealing with a lot of mental changes in her mental problems because of the changes in her life. So I said, Mom, you know I got this gift from my sister. You should start doing this as well. So I gave her a new one. I bought it at bol.com. And I gave her one. I said, here you go, do it. And then after 2 weeks she called me and said, Ellis, I don't know what to draw anymore. So I looked at her book and I was also a little bit shocked, like, ooh. How did she feel? But she really felt that she had to come up with a new face. So she felt restrained, and it was not about, she was not using it as a personal reflection very much. So I really told her, then stop, it's not... and what I learned from that is that one thing works for someone and it doesn't work for someone else, because you have a different interpretation. Hoi, welcome. And then I saw this at my mom's place. So she's using it for her grocery, and she also said, I like the color so much. So it did make her happy in the end. And when I was doing these 6 months, I was looking at faces everywhere. So I was cycling somewhere, and then you see a face inside a traffic light. And yeah, you take it outside from your bedroom where you're doing this, you're looking at smiles, and I think it's happifying. So this is my talk on Face a Day, and this is still for sale on bol.com. It's not my product, but it's really a good tip to try out. Thank you.
Questions?
The fitness guy.
I'm the health guy, thank you very much. I don't know if you saw the trend, but I saw a trend of your overall happiness in January started dropping, February, March, and then it started climbing again.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of suns everywhere, and I'm wondering if you have found a correlation between that and your happiness.
Yeah, the suns was a bit, those were my break, so I didn't do...
I'm joking, no, I'm just saying that there was a drop in the rise, and the sun has something to do with that, so I'm wondering if you can tell me.
The sun, the real sun, yeah. You're very right, yeah. I noticed, and that is, actually I'm using my mother very often as a mirror. She is suffering winter depressions, and February is the worst, and I have to acknowledge that I'm also a bit in there, yeah. So I agree that I did not look into it that much, but I noticed that recently that there's a topic there, yeah.
Well, from professional experience, I can tell you that most people have this, and that it's totally curable.
With this?
Not necessarily, but you can fix it very easily.
Okay, can you share with us here, or shall we do it later?
I'm referring to vitamin D. And maybe light therapy, but most of all vitamin D, especially in elderly people. Basically all of them have levels that are very low, which gives depression, tooth decay, muscle weakness, fat mass gain, muscle decay. So there's a whole scale of things, a whole scale of things that you don't want to happen, and they happen with that cycle as well.
And the coincidence is that both my mother and me, since 2 years, are taking vitamin D. And it was a total coincidence that both of us, at the end of the summer, were measured for that by our doctor, totally separate. And that the doctor said, you're going into the winter and you're already low, so you need vitamin D. So we are taking both.
And most people are taking way too little. So you actually might be shortcutting yourself still.
Thank you. I will really look into that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
More questions? I have one question then. You say that you have your 1, 2, 3 measurement from how happy your day was, and you have this. You give a 1 when you have a party and you drink and you, I don't know what all you do, but is that really a 1, or is it?
Is it actually a 3?
It's actually a bad day.
Yeah, no, the 1 to 3 is really a measurement of how healthy have I been living, and not a score for the happiness. So because I do want to score a 3 in healthiness, but I do know that I need to balance. So it is correlated, but that would be separate numbers. So the 1 is really like, okay, you know you're doing something what you don't want to do every day. So it's a sort of a punishment, or it's a lack of 3 points instead of, but it's still, because that's, I still reward myself with 1 point, because keeping loyal to the end goal, the bigger goal, is more important than the punishment and the don't wanna know what I'm doing. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Welcome. Yeah. One more. Can we?
Yeah, one more.
Do you have the need to make this digital in the form of an app or something else?
Yes, please.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we should talk.
Yeah, I would love it, and I would actually really also love it if you could also draw. And
right.
I tried or spoke a bit about that, but yes, let's talk.
All right.
Okay, thank you.